Hey, Brian Young here from ProfitSourcing.com. Today's topic is tackling the 5,000 book inventory storage limit, ultimately overcoming adversity as an entrepreneur. Now, speaking of adversity, when you're first starting out selling on Amazon, you may notice, and I'll get into this in a minute, but you may notice that you have a limit set on how many items you can send into the FBA, the Amazon fulfillment centers. Now, and that limit is set at 5,000. So what that's saying to you out of the gate, they're putting a cap on how much product you can send in. And 5,000 units may seem like a lot, but if you're going to be focusing on books, and that's going to be your primary product that you're sending in, you're going to be able to fill that 5,000 level really quick. And if you're looking to build like a legitimate business that's going to sustain you, your life, and your family's life, 5,000 books is probably not going to cut it. And so what this video is going to do is going to show you that this limitation's in place. Then I'm going to give you some opportunities to expand on that limit, and we're going to kind of walk you through the things that I'd recommend that you should do if you find yourself in the position that you have a limitation on how much product you can send in to Amazon FBA. But it's definitely an adversity. And what I mean by that is the forums are flooded with people, new sellers, especially in the book selling industry, the book selling niche, that are just super frustrated about this limit. In fact, I've seen people throw out their hands and say, you know what, I give up. If there's a 5,000 book limit and then Amazon's not going to raise it for me, I quit. And I don't want you to be like that. I don't want you to have that defeatist type of attitude. And I really want you to have the mindset that you're going to overcome adversity. It doesn't matter what adversity presents itself along the way to success as an entrepreneur, you're going to overcome it. You're going to have the attitude that nothing can stand in your way. Here's some helpful quotes that I found from some very famous people. Ajero Tony Martins, he's an inventor and an entrepreneur. This is what he says about adversity. Behind every adversity is an opportunity. If you lament over the adversity, you'll miss the opportunity. So in this 5,000 limit, there is adversity, but there's also opportunity, and some people will miss the opportunity by focusing too much on the adversity. J.K. Rowling, you know who that is, author, says, what's coming will come, and we will just have to meet it when it does. And so having the attitude that, yeah, there's a 5,000 book limit, and there's going to be other obstacles along the way. We're going to be addressing some of those in subsequent videos. I'm just going to deal with those problems as they present themselves. I'm not going to allow myself to be defeated. That's a good attitude to have. And then Thomas Edison said, be courageous. I've seen many depressions in business. Always, America has emerged from these stronger and more prosperous. Be brave as your fathers before you. Have faith. Go forward. So it's almost this attitude that I'm pushing forward. I'm moving forward. I'm going to take adversity. I'm going to deal with it. I'm going to be stronger on the other end. It's such a positive attitude when handling adversity in business. So as I alluded to in the beginning, new Amazon seller accounts definitely have their drawbacks. When you open up a new seller account, you give a 0 feedback score or rating. So you have no feedback, no positive feedback, no negative feedback, no feedback at all. In fact, when your listing is up on the screen, customers are going to see that you are kind of a newly launched seller. And so some say that might deter people from buying from you. I know it has me in the past. If I have the option of buying between two sellers, one who is well established with a very high rank and one that is brand new, and the difference between the two in price is maybe a few pennies or even a couple dollars, I would prefer to go with the one that has the more experience, because I know that they have the experience dealing with customers, and they're looks like they're running a legitimate business, whereas this new seller are just a bunch of question marks. So that's a disadvantage for a new seller. Also, if you wanted to sell in categories that other than just regular books, you're not going to be able to in some of them. There's some gated categories that you'll need to seek approval in, and you'll need to have like basically a track record of sales too to be approved in some of these categories, such as health and beauty, grocery, clothing, watches, luggage, shoes, and so on. So you're starting out as a new seller. You have no feedback. You have no credibility. You don't have access to all the categories that maybe you'd like to sell in. And finally, you're limited to the amount of allowable items that Amazon lets you have in stock in their warehouses. And like I said, that's 5,000. So if you're not familiar with FBA Storage Limits, if you go to your Seller Central webpage and you click on FBA inventory. So go under not manage inventory, but manage FBA inventory. At the bottom of your page, you should see the storage monitor bar. Okay, if you don't have a storage monitor bar, if you've been selling on Amazon for a handful of years, you might not have a limit. Or if you've been selling in other categories, you may have a limit, but it may look like this. So this particular example shows that this person has 13,599 standard sized items in fulfillment centers, but they have room, they have margin to have up to 134,000 regular sized items. And then over on the right hand side, you'll see their oversized storage is currently at 326 items for sale, but they can go all the way up to 1,962. So your storage limit varies based on how Amazon views your business. And how it works is every month Amazon is automatically evaluating your sales versus your inventory, and then they will automatically adjust your limit as they see fit. So if your books are just flying off the shelf and they see that a certain percentage of your inventory is being sold every week consistently, then they're just going to automatically raise up your storage limit. Okay, so exceeding your limit. If you ever get to the point where your inventory meets or exceeds what's allowable for your Amazon seller account, Amazon's going to notify you. They're going to let you know. And I copied and pasted these explanations directly from the Amazon seller central help pages, just so you know that's where they're coming from. That's where the text is kind of distorted. I apologize for that. You're not going to be allowed to ship any more new inventory in if you hit or exceed your limit. So Amazon has a solution for you. I think it's a horrible solution. Here's their solution: get rid of inventory. And the three ways they say you can do that is you can have inventory sent back to you. So I think it's about 50 cents, somewhere between 50 and 75 cents. You can have a book or a regular sized item shipped back to you. And it'll take a while. It's not going to be a week, probably a few weeks before you get it, but you get it back. Costs you 50 cents. The other solution to the problem, they say, is sell your current inventory. I just think that's kind of a funny suggestion, because obviously that's the point. You're not, I wouldn't think, sending things into Amazon that you're not planning on selling, that you wouldn't like to sell. But to Amazon's defense, they may say, well, lower your price, or maybe figure out some advertising or do something to move your product. Makes sense. The other option is to have your inventory destroyed. So I think it's like 20, 25 cents, something like that. They would happily destroy your books for you, destroy your products for you. And what does destroy mean? It could mean that they're actually recycling it, getting rid of it, throwing it in the garbage, or it could mean that they're going to sell it themselves. Because a lot of times when you see Amazon warehouse deals, I and other sellers have wondered if maybe that's what they do with the quote-unquote destroyed inventory. But I think those solutions, while making sure your inventory is priced well, and just going through your stock occasionally, maybe having some of the titles that have been sitting there for a while destroyed could be a good thing. I think there's a better solution, especially if you're just starting out, a better solution to this problem. Amazon, like I said, will increase your inventory limit automatically, and this is what the criteria is. Storage limits are reviewed monthly. If you've sold 8% or more of your inventory each week in the 9 previous weeks, your inventory storage limit is eligible to be raised. To request an increase to your storage limit, contact seller support. So of all the books that you're sending in, if you're consistently selling 8% or more for a 9-week period, then Amazon will either automatically raise your limit, or you can call and request that they raise your limit. But that's a considerable amount of books. I mean, for our criteria, we sell between, I'd say, 3 and 5% of our books every week. And 5% being one of the better weeks. So to hit 8% consistently is significant. That means for every 100 books you have in stock, you need to be selling 8 of them every week. Doable, but it's going to require some extra planning and strategy, I believe. It does say in the notes section here that decisions are made on a case-by-case basis. So because of the nature of our product as online booksellers, Amazon might consider giving you a raise in your limits, even though you haven't met that 8% criteria, which leads into my recommendations. The first thing I recommend you do as a new seller is, actually you can choose any of these. You can do all 3. One thing you could do is tighten up your buying criteria. So we're looking for books that have a 5 million rank, Amazon seller rank or better, but maybe you want to go a little tighter than that. Initially, maybe you want to hone in on books that have a sales rank of 1 million or better. And now I think you could be leaving some money on the table, but the trade-off is you'll be able to get that inventory limitation raised in the beginning. So maybe it'll go from 5,000 to 8,000 or to 10,000. And then you can focus on buying books that are a little more long tail, books that are going to take a little longer to sell. Another option is sell in other categories that have fast-moving product. So again, all these solutions are not great. Honestly, it is a bummer. This is adversity, but they are solutions. So I know some of you are probably listening to this and you're like, oh, this is really stressing me out. I just wanted to come in. I wanted to follow Brian's plan. I want to follow Greg's plan. I just want to buy books, and I wanted to send them in and not have to deal with all this stressful stuff here. But it is really important. This is important. But let me tell you, if you follow my recommendations, or maybe you figure out some of your own, you're going to set yourself apart from a lot of the Amazon sellers that aren't willing to do this. They aren't willing to tighten up their criteria. They aren't willing to be nimble, when adversity presents itself. So sell in other categories, and you could some other people have suggested in some of the forums, you could even sell stuff like in the toy and game category, for instance, and sell it at a break-even price. Just find some hot moving toys that have enough margin for you to recoup all your costs, and just move them fast, and just flip them through your inventory as quick as you can, for 9 weeks, while you're still sending books in, and just monitoring the numbers of products going out, the numbers of products going in, and then eventually you'll be able to call up Amazon, or they'll do it automatically. They'll raise your limit, then you can stop doing that. The third option, which I think is the best for new sellers, is to hound Amazon Seller Central for incremental increases. So again, like I alluded to in the last slide, Amazon booksellers are of a different breed than all the other categories. Now, Amazon knows that there are 39 plus million books listed for sale on their website. And they know that a good percentage of those books aren't going to sell a copy a year, some of them. But they still want those books available. They want Amazon to be the destination for books. They want you to be able to come to Amazon and find the exact book you're looking for, the book that you could find nowhere else on the internet or in any other brick and mortar store. And so they're okay with it. And so if you call up with that attitude, just say, hey, I have a 5,000 limit. I'm planning on opening up, selling, a decent amount of books, thousands of books on Amazon, and I just would like my limit increased so I can account for all this extra inventory that I'm going to be sending in. Now, because you're a bookseller, they might give you that increase, and that's important. That's important to know. Now, also, the first person you call, the reason why I say hound Amazon Seller Central is because the first person you call might not give you that increase. They might quote you the 8%. You need to sell 8% for 9 weeks. Well, then call again and again. In fact, my good friend Rob Buttrin ran into this problem as he's trying to set up his book selling business. He called 6 times in a row before he got the Seller Center rep that said, oh yeah, fine, we'll bump it up. And they bumped it up to 8,000. So it happens. I know it happens. I know it's stressful. I know it's the road less traveled, but that's precisely why you should travel it. So those are my recommendations to you. I'm sure there's other ones too, so be sure to check around the forums and ask. If you want to send me a message on the book flipping Facebook group, I'd be happy to address it and maybe connect you with some people that have had the same problem but have also overcome it. So in conclusion, don't let obstacles like this one get in the way of you setting up the business and the lifestyle that you truly desire. Find a solution that you can live with and then go for it. Okay? And by doing this, you're going to set yourself apart from all your competition. So hopefully this little presentation helped motivate you. Hopefully, if you have a 5,000 unit limit, you're able to put some of what we discussed here into practice and see that limit expanded upon. Thank you so much for watching, and happy book flipping.